I temporarily gave my sister my old room after her divorce, but she refused to leave and demanded I put the house in her name because I'm single and don't need it. I'm a single man living in a house I inherited from my father after his passing. The house is modest, but entirely mine, and I consider it my private sanctuary. About 7 months ago, my sister got divorced and was in a very difficult emotional and financial situation with nowhere to go. Honestly, I felt it was my duty to help her, especially since she's my sister, so I offered her my old room in the house. I told her, "Stay here temporarily, 2 weeks at most, so you can sort things out." At first, everything was fine. She thanked me for the help, and I was happy to support her during this tough time. But as time passed, it became clear that temporary wasn't ending anytime soon. She stayed for months. Every time I tried to bring up finding her own place, she'd dodge the conversation saying, "It's not the right time," or "I haven't found anything suitable." I tried to be patient and understanding, but the situation started bothering me more, especially since this was supposed to be my home. Her behavior began to change, and it hurt me. The real problem came 2 days ago when I decided to talk to her, frankly. I said, "I think it's time for you to look for your own place. Your staying here is affecting my privacy, and the house is small. It's no longer comfortable for me." I expected her to understand and agree, but her response shocked me. She calmly and confidently said, "Why should I leave? You're single and don't need the whole house. You should transfer the ownership to me because I need it more than you." Those words cut deep. I replied, "What? This house is mine. I helped you temporarily, not so you could take over and demand I give it to you." She fired back, "I'm divorced with a daughter and you're alone. No wife or kids. You don't need this house. I do." Honestly, I felt she didn't grasp the gravity of the situation or the meaning of family. It was as if my feelings and rights meant nothing, even though this was the home I inherited. Her behavior made me rethink everything, and now our relationship is extremely strained. Since then, I've been trying to handle the situation as rationally as possible. I've sat with her multiple times, explaining that the house is mine, that her stay was temporary, and that she needs to find a solution that works for both of us. I tried to be patient and understanding of her situation, but every time she'd respond with the same argument. "You're single and don't need the house. I have a daughter and need security more than you." I tried to make her understand that this wasn't about marital status. It was about rights and ownership. No matter her circumstances, she couldn't demand something that wasn't hers. But it was like talking to a wall. Nothing got through. Then, the situation started severely affecting our relationship. She refused to leave the room and began acting like the house was hers. Sometimes she'd even make decisions about the house, maintenance or other matters, without consulting me, as if she had full authority. Even our family and relatives noticed the tension when they visited. The atmosphere between us became unbearable, and people started talking, something I'm deeply uncomfortable with. After the tension between me and my sister became obvious to everyone, I tried multiple times to calm the situation and find a compromise. I sat down with her face to face and calmly, without resentment, explained that the house is mine, that her stay was temporary, and that we both needed to respect each other's boundaries. I told her, "I'm not against helping you, but you can't use this situation to take control of something that isn't yours. The house doesn't belong to you, and I can't just give it up." But no matter how I tried to reason with her, she'd hit me with the same painful argument. "You're single. What do you even need the house for? I'm divorced with a daughter. I deserve it more than you." It didn't stop there. As days passed, things escalated unexpectedly. My sister began acting like she was the real owner of the house, rearranging furniture without asking, making decisions about repairs or household matters without even telling me. Even when family visited, they could feel the strange tension. The warmth we once shared as siblings was gone. The worst part was when her daughter got involved. She started coming over more often, acting overly entitled and taking up more space. in the house. I began feeling like a stranger in my own home, a place that no longer gave me comfort. I tried talking to my sister again, stressing that we needed boundaries, especially with her daughter around, and that she had to understand. The house wasn't hers, but my words were ignored. She'd snap back angrily, "If you don't like it, leave." I kept hoping for a middle ground, some compromise to satisfy us both, but sadly, nothing changed. With every passing day, I felt things spiraling out of control, like I was losing something precious I never imagined I'd have to fight for, especially not with my own sister. To make matters worse, rumors started spreading among neighbors and relatives about our conflict. It added salt to the wound. I wanted people to see me as a loving, supportive brother, not someone being taken advantage of. Over time, the situation became unbearable. My sister stubbornly refused every attempt I made to find a solution or even have a calm discussion. She clung to her demand, which to me made no sense at all. She insisted that I transfer the house to her name because I was single and didn't need it. What confused me the most was how our relationship had deteriorated. We were siblings who once supported each other in tough times, but now it was as if she no longer acknowledged any kindness I had shown her. The house I inherited and temporarily shared with her had turned into a prison for me, not a refuge. Sometimes she would enter my room without permission, treating it as a shared space because it was her old room, even though I had never officially given it up or moved out. I felt like I had no privacy left, even in my own home. It didn't stop there. She started making financial decisions without consulting me, paying bills, buying household items, and acting as if she were the sole owner. Things escalated to the point where she would call neighbors and discuss house matters, even rallying some of them to support her side, without them knowing the full story. I tried to endure and stay patient, but inside, my anger and disappointment grew. How could my sister, the one who had desperately needed my help, now demand rights that weren't hers and challenge my ownership of my own home? Even our family and relatives became divided. Some took her side, while others supported me. This division weighed heavily on me, and the emotional pressure became overwhelming. At times, I felt completely alone, even when surrounded by people. Through it all, I tried to stay composed and think rationally. But every now and then, arguments would flare into heated confrontations, often ending in days of suffocating silence between us. I never imagined that a simple act of kindness, helping my sister in her time of need, would turn into a never-ending nightmare inside my own home. When the situation became unbearable and the conflict with my sister escalated, I began looking for solutions outside the house. Maybe a family member or friend could help mediate. I thought if someone could intervene between us, they might calm things down and help resolve the issue, especially since neither of us wanted to stay trapped in this endless cycle. Unfortunately, every family intervention only made things worse. Some relatives sided with my sister, arguing that as a divorced mother, she needed more protection than me. Others encouraged me to stand my ground, especially since I inherited the house from our father and couldn't easily give it up. These divided loyalties intensified the tension. My sister grew even more stubborn, as if she was now challenging everyone to get the house in her name. Even neighbors began interfering, and hearing them refer to my home as a battleground cut deep. I felt like my personal life had become a stage for public drama. There was no peace left, even in my own home. I'd go to work, meet friends, and try to escape the toxic atmosphere, but the problem with my sister was always on my mind. Many times I tried reasoning with her. I don't want to deprive you, but there are legal and fair ways to resolve this. The house is mine alone. But she'd only reject my words, sometimes lashing out with hurtful comments that I had no family or didn't care about her. The worst came when she began making indirect threats, hinting she had people who'd help her take the house or creating an atmosphere of intimidation. It made me fear for my safety and stability. Now, I'm in an extremely difficult place emotionally. Sometimes it feels like everything is crumbling around me. The family home has become a war zone, and I don't know how to escape this dilemma without losing either my sister or my house. The situation has reached a point I never imagined possible. Every passing day, the weight on my chest grows heavier, and my heartache deepens. The house that was once my refuge and companion has become a place of constant tension and conflict. I find myself constantly reevaluating, searching for a solution to end this tragedy between me and my sister. I began seeking advice from people outside the family, those I trusted for their wisdom, and shared everything that had happened. Everyone told me the situation was complicated and that I needed to be cautious, especially since my sister seemed willing to go to extremes. They warned that if I didn't act quickly, I could lose everything. I tried talking to my sister again, but this time, I decided to be firmer. I told her plainly, "I can't let this continue. The house is mine and I won't give it up. We need to find a solution, or legal intervention will be the only option if things stay this way." But her response was harsh. "Go ahead, try, see who can stop me." Those words shook me to the core and drained my strength. I felt we had reached a point of no return, that things could spiral even further. Day by day, the situation grew worse. She escalated her provocative behavior, refusing to communicate unless I met her demands. She spread word of our conflict to more relatives, painting herself as the victim and me as the oppressor. This left me feeling trapped, forced into making difficult decisions. I started considering legal counsel, preparing to take steps to protect my rights, even if it meant a prolonged battle and even more tension. What makes it all worse is the deep sense of betrayal and pain from my sister. I expected support and understanding, not for her to exploit my need for family like this. Now I'm torn between my desire to protect my home and dignity and my wish to preserve family ties, which now hang by a thread. We had reached a point where there was no more room for delay. After all the attempts, the endless discussions, and the back and forth, I finally made the difficult choice to take legal action. I consulted a lawyer, explained everything in detail, and began the formal process to reclaim my rights to the house. It was an incredibly painful step, one I never imagined I'd have to take against my own sister. But I had no other choice. Every peaceful solution had been rejected, and I couldn't let her keep taking what wasn't hers. Still, I tried to hold on to some humanity. I reached out to her calmly, asking her to understand my position, reminding her that the door for dialogue was still open, if only she was willing to make things right. But sadly, nothing changed. The conflict only deepened, and communication between us became almost non-existent. An unfinished story as I write this today. I'm still torn between my heart and my mind. My heart wishes things could go back to how they were, that she would understand this house isn't just a building, but a symbol of family, memories, and belonging. But my mind tells me that rights must be defended, and justice must prevail. I can't tell you exactly how this story ends because, in truth, the ending is still being written. But one thing I know for sure: love and respect between siblings, no matter how much time passes, are the only things that can heal even the deepest wounds. To everyone who listened to my story, thank you. I hope my experience serves as a lesson for anyone facing a similar struggle. Family is precious, but so is self-respect. Sometimes, the hardest decisions are the ones we never wanted to make.